Neglected by my family, I left when my brother was arrested. They begged for help. I demanded an apology, then refused. Do you ever feel like you're just there? Like you exist in a space, but no one sees you? That is how it has always been in my family. I wasn't the perfect child. I was not the troublemaker, just the one in the middle, the one who performed what was required but never quite enough. It started little, small things. My parents forgot to save me a plate for dinner. My brother took my items without asking, knowing that no one would care if I protested. They never explicitly stated that I wasn't wanted, at least not at first, but it was always there in the way people spoke around me. My existence seemed like an afterthought. I attempted to brush it off. Families were not perfect, correct? Perhaps I was simply being sensitive. Maybe if I worked more and performed better, they'd finally see me as someone worth keeping. So I worked hard. I made certain that my grades were solid. I helped around the house. I remained out of trouble. However, it never seemed to matter. My brother, he could do whatever he wanted. Talk back, skip chores, fail a class. It made no difference. My parents would make excuses for him. He's only a kid. He's going through a difficult moment. You should be more supportive of him. Every time I brought out the disparity and how we were treated, I became the problem. It was difficult. The resentment eventually bubbled over, but it wasn't from me. It was from them. It was Saturday night. I had just come home from work. Nothing extraordinary, simply a part-time job at a neighborhood grocery store. My parents never gave me much money, so I worked on weekends to save some. My brother, on the other hand, did not need to lift a finger. He received everything he wanted. I entered the house tired. The first thing I saw was him sitting on the couch, controller in hand, deeply immersed in his game. A half-eaten dish of food rested on the table, and my backpack was on the floor, open. My notebooks and papers were spilled on the carpeting. What the hell, dude? I sighed and bent down to gather up my belongings. Oh yeah, he mumbled, staring at the television. We needed paper. I took some. As I flipped through my notebook, my stomach sank. My notes, which I had spent hours on, were gone, torn out. I clenched my jaw. Are you serious? He finally looked at me and said, relax. It's simply some pointless notes. It's not like you do anything important. That landed harder than it should have, perhaps because deep down, I knew that was how he saw me, how everyone saw me. Where are they? I inquired, my voice tight. He scoffed. Dunno. Probably in the trash. I'm not sure what happened at that moment, but something inside me snapped. Not in a violent, screaming way, but in a cold, calm knowledge. I was not one of them, not really. I took a deep breath and forced myself to remain calm. You're unbelievable, I mumbled as I walked by him to the kitchen. That's when my folks entered, and that's when things started to go wrong. My mother and father entered, laughing at something, an inside joke between them, something I never participated in. But as they noticed me standing there, their demeanor changed. What's with this attitude? My father asked, his eyes narrowing. I sighed sharply while still holding my destroyed notebook. Ask him, I said, nodding to my brother. He ripped out my notes. Just threw them away like they were nothing. My mother scarcely glanced at him. It's just paper, she remarked with a dismissive gesture. I stared between them, expecting something, even anything as simple as, that wasn't cool, or, don't do that again. But nothing. Instead, my brother smirked. Yeah, it's just paper, he repeated, as if he knew he had already won. I felt my fingers tightening around the notebook. Right? Of course. I turned to head upstairs, but my father's voice stopped me. You know, this attitude is exactly why no one wants to be around you. I froze. What? I inquired, turning slowly. Don't. My mother moaned, as if she had grown tired of me. You overreact to everything, constantly playing the victim, always creating problems. Is this causing problems? I gave out a sour laugh. For what? Expecting basic respect? Because I don't want my belongings trashed. My brother snorted. God, you're so dramatic. I shook my head. You behave as if I'm the problem, but you don't even notice what's occurring. You just let him do what he wants. Dad folded his arms. Because he's not the one constantly whining. That hit hard, but not as difficult as what happened later. My brother lay back on the couch, arms extended behind his head, smirking. No one wants you here, man. I felt my stomach drop, but my parents' reaction broke something in me. They nodded. They truly nodded. My mom didn't say anything. My father didn't argue. They just stood there silently, as if they had already accepted that fact. I did not yell. I did not beg them to take it back. I just breathed, and something inside of me went cold. Okay, I replied simply, and I went upstairs to pack my stuff. And I left. But this was not the end, not even close. Because the next morning, my phone was filled with 12 missed calls, and that's when I realized that leaving was the best decision I'd ever made. I did not answer any of the calls, not at first. I simply gazed at my phone, watching as the notifications piled up. My brother, my dad, even my mother. For a family that didn't want me, they were frantic to contact me now. I let it ring. I was not in a haste. After leaving last night, I didn't have a plan. I threw my belongings in a duffel bag and walked out, feeling numb. I crashed at a friend's place, someone who genuinely cared about me. He didn't ask any questions. He didn't push. He simply tossed me a blanket and added, "You can stay as long as you need." It was more kindness than my own family had shown me in many years. They wanted something now, and I suspected it wasn't because they missed me. By the time the calls ceased, a few texts began to arrive. The first ones were exactly what I imagined. "Mom, you are acting immature. Come back." "Dad, enough with this crap. You should quit acting like a child." I scoffed. Yes, I actually left. They were definitely not apologetic. Then a new message arrived. One event transformed everything. "Mom, come home now. We have an issue." I glanced at the screen, my pulse quickening. Is there a problem? I considered ignoring it, but curiosity got the better of me. I finally texted back only 2 words. "Me, what happened?" Her reply came almost immediately. "Mom, your brother messed up bad." And just like that, I knew. They did not miss me. They did not want me back. They needed me. And that gave me an idea. I lay back on the couch and stared at my phone. So, they needed me. Interesting. I was not in a hurry to answer. Instead, I allowed them to sweat a little. If my brother had truly messed up, whatever happened was significant enough that my parents, who had never taken my side, were now reaching out. After around 10 minutes of silence, more texts started arriving. "Dad, we don't have time for your attitude. Just come home." "Mom, please, this is serious." Seriously? That almost made me laugh. When my troubles became serious, they advised me to get over them. But now that my brother was in peril, it became crucial. I took my time writing the next response. "Me, it's not my problem." A minute passed, then another. Then my father called. I let it ring, declined. A second later, a text appeared. "Dad, you are being selfish." I breathed sharply through my nose. Selfish? That was impressive coming from him. Then my mother texted again. "Mom, your brother has been arrested." I blinked. Okay, now I am interested. I took my friend's car keys from the countertop. "I need a ride." He raised an eyebrow. "You sure? Thought you were done with them." I smirked. "Oh, I am. But I need to see this for myself." 15 minutes later, I pulled up in front of my home. My father was pacing on the porch, phone in hand, and appeared more anxious than I'd ever seen him. My mother sat on the steps, head in her hands. For once, no one laughed, no disparaging remarks, just pure panic. Silence. I took my time walking up. "So," I casually inquired, "who wants to tell me what happened?" My father turned, his gaze stealing. "Where the hell have you been?" I raised an eyebrow. "Not here, like you wanted." He clenched his teeth, but before he could respond, my mother spoke. "It's your brother," she explained, her voice cracking. He stole something from the wrong people." I frowned. "The wrong people?" Dad ran his fingers over his face. "Some guys at that arcade he hangs out at. We don't know the details, but they called the cops. He's in holding right now." I nearly laughed. Of course. My brother had spent years treating me like garbage, believing he was untouchable, and now the actual world had struck him like a truck. I crossed my arms. "And what do you want me to do about it?" Mom shot me a frantic look. "We need money for a lawyer. Bail. Something. We need your help." I stared at her for a long time. Then I finally grinned. They needed me, but I didn't need them. After years of shoving me aside and treating me like I was nothing, they now looked at me as if I were their only hope. And in a way, I was. I tucked my hands in my pockets and tilted my head slightly. "So let me get this straight," I muttered. "You told me I was unwanted. You let my brother treat me like garbage. You didn't care when I walked out. But now that he's in trouble, you suddenly remember I exist?" My father's jaw stiffened. "This isn't about that. This is about family." I laughed, a brief, piercing noise. "Oh, now we're family? That's funny because last night I was a burden." Mom's eyes were begging. "Please, we can talk about all of that later. Right now, we need to get him out before this gets worse." I let out a slow breath, pretending to think about it. "And how much money are we talking about?" Dad exhaled. "Bail is set at $10,000. We can pay a portion, but we need you to cover the rest." I whistled. 10 grand, huh? Sounds serious." My mother perked up somewhat. "So you'll do it?" I smirked. "Oh, absolutely not." Their faces sank so quickly that I nearly felt awful. Almost. Excuse me, my father snapped. I shrugged. Not my problem. Mom's voice crackled. But he's your brother. I shook my head. No, he's your son, I corrected with a firm voice. And you made it very clear that I was never part of this family. Dad stepped forward, wrath in his eyes. You think you're proving a point? You think this is funny? I met his stare without flinching. No, I smirked. I think it's fair. Mom grabbed my arm, her words urgent. We'll pay you back. I took a step backward. You think I trust you? The people who threw me away without a second thought. Her lips opened and closed, but she said nothing. I shook my head. Here's what's going to happen. You're going to figure this out without me, just like you always wanted. And I'm going to walk away, just like you told me to. I turned on my heels and returned to my friend's car. My father cried after me, Don't you dare walk away from us. I looked over my shoulder. You already did it first. Then I got in my car and drove away, leaving them in the mess they had created. I drove away, my fists gripped around the steering wheel. I should have felt triumphant. I should have felt like I finally had the last laugh. But instead, I felt hollow. Not because I regretted my decision, they deserved it, but because, after all, even when they begged for my assistance, I knew they still didn't consider me family. They simply saw me as a solution, a wallet, a safety net. And now that net was gone. That night, I sat in my room, reading through my phone and eating a beautiful, fatty burger from my favorite takeout restaurant. It was serene, quiet. I hadn't experienced a night like this in years living under that roof. I considered turning my phone on mute, but I couldn't resist checking my alerts. Surprise, surprise, my family had not given up. Mom sent 3 SMS in a row. Mom, let's work something out, please. Let's speak. Mom, your brother is still in jail. We're having trouble getting the money together. Mom, please, I understand we were tough previously, but we're family. I almost choked on my soda. Are we now a family? Did they finally care? That was rich. I was wondering whether to answer when another text arrived, this time from my father. Dad, see, we can repay you. You simply need to trust us. That one had me laughing out loud. Trust them? The same people who for years treated me as if I were an unwanted guest in my own home? Are these the same people who advised me to leave without hesitation? Yeah, right. Just as I was about to put my phone down, another message arrived. Brother, come on, man. Are you really going to let me rot here? Oh, this was really amazing. After everything he's put me through, all the times he's shoved me around, mocked me, and labeled me useless, what now? Now he sought my assistance. I decided to have some fun. Me, you said no one wanted me around. I'm simply respecting your requests. Delivered. Read. No response. I smiled to myself, extended my arms behind my head, and ate another piece of my burger. Life was good. The following morning, I awoke to a rush of messages. Groggy, I massaged my eyes, unlocked my phone, and began scrolling through them. Apparently, things were getting tough for the family at home. Dad, we had to sell both the TV and my golf clubs. Your mother is furious at me. I hope you're happy. Dad, please, we don't know what to do now. And then the best one yet. Brother, I swear to God, when I leave, you better hope I don't find you. That was hilarious. Was this the same guy who needed my help now threatening me? I chose to respond. Me. That is some strong language for someone who requires my assistance. Try again. An hour passed before my mother swallowed her pride and sent another message. Mom, please, we are definitely struggling. I let her sit in her desperation for a few minutes before responding. Me. I'll bail him out on one condition. She did not hesitate. Mom, anything. I smirked. I want a public apology in the family group chat. A long one. I want you all to admit every horrible thing you've said to me, and I want you to thank me for helping. I knew that would hurt my father's pride, but if they needed my help so desperately, they'd have to beg for it. It did take them a bit, but eventually, a new message appeared in the family group chat. Dad, we need to discuss how we've treated you. We've made mistakes, and we now see how deeply we've wounded him. We profoundly regret our comments and behavior. He is an essential member of our family, and we appreciate his generosity in assisting us during this tough time. It was stiff, it was forced, and it was quite humiliating for them. Perfect. I gave them a simple thumbs-up emoji and proceeded about my day. Did I really bail my brother out? Haha, absolutely not. But at least I received the apologies I had always deserved. Next week, my brother called me. Man, I can't believe you did this to me, he said over the phone, his voice heavy with rage. I thought you were better than this. I couldn't help laughing. It was not a malicious chuckle. It's more like the giggle you get when the universe gives you precisely what you deserve. Better than what? I inquired, my voice light and even humorous. I'm just giving you what you wanted. You told me I wasn't wanted, remember? So now you get to stay exactly where you belong. I could hear him smashing something into the jail bars in the distance. You can't do this. You're really just leaving me here. I paused for a moment before responding. You know, I thought I might bail you out. I really did. But you and the rest of the family, you've made it pretty clear that I don't matter. I paused to allow the words to sink in. So now I get to laugh. I get to enjoy my life knowing that I'm out here living it on my terms while you're stuck. Enjoy your stay. He did not say anything for a while. I could almost see him, furious on the other end, but I didn't care. After years of being regarded as an afterthought, like an unseen shadow in the backdrop, this was my moment. When I hung up the phone, a sense of relief washed over me. I wasn't angry anymore. In fact, I couldn't feel the resentment I used to harbor for them. Everything had melted away, just like that. My brother remained in jail. They did everything to get him out, but the charges were so serious that they couldn't help him. They begged and pleaded, but the reality was they needed me far more than I needed them. As for me, I walked away, holding my head high. I knew I'd finally return my power. I didn't have to move a finger to make their lives miserable. They had already done it for me. All I had to do was relax, enjoy my quiet, and know that they would never see me the same way again. And whenever I looked at my phone with its continual reminders of how desperate they were, I smiled. Because in the end, it wasn't only about the money. It was about the sweet, fulfilling taste of vengeance. For the first time in years, I was finally living for myself. Honestly, this story is quite satisfying. The protagonist was mistreated by his family, but the way he turned the tables and refused to help his brother was great. It's like the best revenge, and he didn't even need to do anything drastic. Just let them face the consequences. What are your thoughts? Was that the correct decision, or did he go too far? Would you have helped, or is this retribution well-deserved? Let me know your thoughts. Thank you for watching. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do so and hit the notification bell to stay updated with more shocking real-life stories happening around you.